Hey everyone and welcome to Stryder Hearthstone. I put out new Battlegrounds videos every week with hero guides, new hero reviews, and crazy game moments. So stay up to date by hitting that subscribe button down below and the bell to turn on notifications. So not the best starting minions, and the 1-2 mech loses to a ton of things in this new meta right now, so if I'm going to end up taking 2 damage regardless, I'd rather get a 2-4 minion out of it. I'm playing it at the super last moment to not give any information to Rafam in case he does something like buy a elemental, sell this elemental, and use his hero power.
Don't tell the others. I'm rooting for you.
So I think the elemental patch came up with a lot of tools that make Millhouse way more efficient with using his gold. Like for example, this 2/2 elemental, it's spend 2 gold to buy it, but essentially you sell it back for 2 gold, so it's a net 0 cost for a 2/2 body early on.
Nice work out there.
And the best part of that is when you have an odd number of gold left over, you can sell the first part of the elemental and still have a 2/2 body left over.
You're good at this.
Buffing the Vulgar Homunculus over the Fiendish Servant just because I'm more likely to sell the Fiendish Servant first.
Useful things, eager to share. Any defeat that doesn't destroy you makes you stronger.
So if it was anyone except for Ragnaros, I may have just left my board as is, but I really don't want him to get his quest activated when he still has a ton of health, so I just want to make my board as strong as possible.
It's good to get some minions in play. Your minions
Just going on to tier 4 here just because these are really bad minions and I don't want to spend 2 gold to reroll.
rough battle. Pick yourself back up and turn it around.
So considering I'm on tier 4, these are pretty bad minions as well, so I'm going to go to tier 5. Since I'm fighting Rafam, there's a decent chance that if he sees me go to tier 5, he'll want to go there as well, since he is a hero that thrives on getting to those higher tiers earlier as well. Plus, with my Elemental still intact, I can swap that out for one of these new minions despite having no gold left over. I'm still holding onto the pair, however, for the chance I can find a triple next turn.
I've got some fresh recruits for you. Hey, a triple. Here's your reward.
So the Genie is a really interesting card. It's kind of like an elemental starter pack, because even though you have no other elementals, it can start feeding you some of those key elemental pieces that you really need. And I also find it to be super interesting because despite being on tier 5, the Genie can still give you cards like Amalgadon and Lieutenant Gar from tier 6. I don't want to roll to death as Millhouse, so I'll pick up the Egg, which is an 8/8 body, which isn't bad for turn 8. I'm also just going to pick up the Battlemaster, the Demon buff, to hold on to it for now. I think I have enough HP that I'm not prone to dying if I lose a single fight, but I do think I can squeeze a little bit more value out of the Battlemaster if my HP gets a bit lower. That Lieutenant Gar is an awesome drop from the Genie.
Welcome back. How's it going out there? It's good to get some minions in play.
And now I'm just going to pick up every elemental I can find in the tavern to build up that Lieutenant Gar.
That one might make all the difference.
It was pretty tempting to freeze this board for the Selfless Hero and the 1/1 Spore, both of which are pretty key cards in the meta right now, but as Millhouse, it's so punishing to pay 2 gold to refresh, so I want to take the free refresh next turn instead to try to get some more elementals.
I've got some fresh recruits for you.
Picking up the Captain Hogger just because I'm playing Millhouse, if I find some deck swabbies or some gamblers, it'll easily pay off for itself, if not make a profit, and if not, I'll just sell it and just cost me 1 gold. Picking up the Shifter Zerus for the same reason. Since I'm Millhouse, it's a pretty low risk investment. If I end up selling it before I get something I need, it only costs me 1 gold to hold it. Since I'm fighting Ragnaros and he's had his quest activated for a couple of rounds now, there's a decent chance that he might have a cleave minion, so I'm just going to position my board around that. And I got another Lieutenant Gar from the Genie, which is awesome. So in the way that Hangry Dragon kind of curses your board and makes you start losing fights, I feel like holding a Battlemaster in your hand as you're willing to take some damage kind of goes the other way and you start tying and winning fights that you're not supposed to. Mirzon is almost always a buy from Millhouse. It's a net 0 cost and you might get something good out of it.
Witness the truth. Down a minion and up a gold. I didn't like that one either. Here's a gold for the trouble.
So going up to tier 6, because it's getting pretty cheap for me to do so, at tier 6 I'll get that 1 extra minion in the tavern each time, so that reduces the chances that I'll have to reroll, and hopefully I can find another Genie or something. So in hindsight, I probably should have kept this cleave minion and instead sold the 7/20/22 taunt minion. There's a lot more value out of buffing up the cleave minion with Lil Ragnaros on board, but I kind of just got caught up with the whole elemental synergy of my board. So this tier 1 elemental refreshing anomaly is another new elemental that just really makes Millhouse feel like a powerhouse. By making the next refresh cost 0, it gets rid of Millhouse's only downside, which is how expensive it is to reroll the tavern.
Everyone's gunning for you. Watch out.
And finally, this tier 5 elemental is just one other card that's so good for Millhouse. Even if you buy it for 2 gold, you end up getting 2 minions that you can sell back to the shop for a net 0 cost. And since we're on tier 6, there's a chance we can get a Lieutenant Gar, another Genie, or an Amalgadon from it for no risk to our gold and 2 buffs for our Lil Ragnaros and Lieutenant Gar.
Another satisfied customer. Another satisfied customer.
Picking up the 1/1 Spore here just in case I have to fight Jandis and she has a huge pogo.
A good tactical choice.
The frozen winds guide me.
Defensive systems online. You're down a minion.
Picking up the Baron here in case I need to transition to a selfless hero Baron Spore comp.
You can stay on top. You're good at this.
Bran is a really good card, I just don't have board space for him right now.
That's what I would have picked. I didn't like that one either. Here's a gold for the trouble. Go big or go home, I always say. I didn't like that one either. Here's a gold for the trouble. Everyone's gunning for you. Watch out. Your minions really pulled their weight.
I have witnessed the true end time.
In hindsight again, since I was pretty far ahead, this is probably the last fight. I should have sold that Nomi and kept something else on the board so that my Amalgadon could get an extra adaptation, and then I could swap out Nomi for one of those chunky elementals.
Watch out.
So overall, elementals have been a huge buff for Millhouse. According to HF's replay for MMR over 8,000, his win rate is sitting above Daryl's and is even close to catching up to Lich King. Even if you're playing Millhouse but not necessarily playing elementals, there's still a lot of tools in the early to mid game that really synergize really well with the hero power and reduce the downside of costing 2 gold to refresh. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below, and I'll see you next time in the Battlegrounds.